Betrayal is a subject that bothers, hurts, and at the same time arouses a lot of curiosity. No one wants to think about the possibility of being cheated on, but sometimes the clues are right in front of us, hidden in small gestures, changes in behavior, and even in phrases that seem harmless. Today, we are going to talk about 5 phrases that may seem normal at first glance, but that, if analysed more carefully, can reveal much more than we imagine. These are words that can hide ulterior motives, signs of distance, and even well-disguised lies. Before we start, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Here, we unravel the mysteries of human behavior and help you better understand your relationships. And to not miss any new content, activate the bell. That way, you are always one step ahead. And there is more. During the video, I want to know from you, which phrase or situation caught your attention the most? Comment below. I always knew. If any part makes sense to you, share your experience. Let's exchange ideas and learn together. Is something changing? You know that phrase that seems harmless? I've decided to start going to the gym. At first glance, it seems like something completely normal, right? After all, taking care of your health is great. But what if suddenly this decision is accompanied by a bunch of other changes? Just think, a person who was never interested in physical exercise now wants to renew their entire wardrobe, starts eating a completely different way, and, all of a sudden, spends a lot more time outside the house. It could just be a phase of personal evolution, which is amazing. But there are some signs that deserve attention. Does she share these changes with you, or does she seem to be hiding something? Is she transparent about her schedule and the people she keeps? Do you feel a certain mystery in the air? Changes in routine are normal, especially when someone wants to feel better about themselves. The problem is when this comes along with emotional distancing. If the person starts to withdraw, avoid conversations, or act differently around you, it could be a sign that something else is going on. The tip: pay attention to the context. Changes are welcome, but their impact on the relationship is what really matters. When does me time become a warning sign? Hearing someone say, "I need some time for myself," is completely understandable. After all, everyone needs a moment to breathe, relax, and reconnect with themselves. Having space within a relationship is healthy. But what if this phrase starts to appear out of nowhere without a clear reason, or becomes a constant excuse to justify separations? Then it's worth paying attention. Something deeper may be going on. Some questions you can ask yourself. Is this time accompanied by entire afternoons without explaining where the person has been? Are the justifications always vague, like a simple, "I need to think about life," without any further details? Before, these moments of pause were shared, but now they seem to create a huge gap between you. The secret is to observe behavior. During and after these periods of separation, does everything return to normal? Or do you feel like these moments of space are becoming more and more frequent, as if the other person is slowly distancing themselves? If it's just a phase, that's fine. But if this pattern starts to create a void in the relationship, it might be time to understand what's really behind this need for me time. When so-and-so comes up too much in conversation, you know when a name starts to come up repeatedly, out of nowhere? "Oh, so-and-so helped me with that." Sometimes it might just be a coincidence, but in some cases, it could be a sign that this person plays a bigger role in your partner's life than they seem. This happens because when someone is involved or interested in another person, a common strategy is to mention them naturally, as if they were not interested, to normalize their presence in conversations. Something like, "So-and-so helped me solve a problem on my computer. He always gives great advice," It seems harmless, right? But it's worth noting a few details. Does this name come up a lot? Does the person show enthusiasm when talking about it, or does he try to seem indifferent, but in a forced way? Whenever this name comes up, is there a subtle change in mood, such as discreet smiles, awkward pauses, or even unexpected defensiveness? The secret is in the little things. Sometimes what is not said weighs more than words. If someone's name starts to appear repeatedly, always in a positive way or with excessive care to seem irrelevant, it may be time to pay more attention. After all, some clues are disguised in the subtleties of everyday life. When you should go out with your friends more isn't just advice. At first glance, hearing you should go out with your friends more may seem like a gesture of affection, as if the person is genuinely concerned about your well-being. After all, everyone needs some time to relax and have fun, right? But what if this suggestion always appears at strategic moments? Consider the following scenario. Honey, you've been so stressed. Why don't you go out to play soccer with the boys? You should make plans with your friends. It's been a while since you've gone out with them. If this phrase comes up casually, without ulterior motives, that's fine. But what if, every time she suggests it, she also takes the opportunity to distance herself at the same time? It could be a pattern, a subtle way of creating space for other activities without raising suspicion. Here are some signs to watch out for. Does this suggestion appear frequently and always coincide with times when she is also busy? Does her behavior change when you accept the suggestion? Like a disguised relief or even a certain unexpected enthusiasm? If you decide not to go out, does she seem frustrated or insist more than usual? Of course, in a healthy relationship, encouraging the other person to maintain friendships is a positive thing. But if this suggestion always appears along with a strategic withdrawal, it could be a sign that something else is going on. As always, context and frequency make all the difference. When "you need to trust me more" becomes a shield. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, right? But when someone uses the phrase "you need to trust me more" as a shield to avoid questions, it can be a red flag. Imagine the situation. You notice something strange, ask a simple question, and receive an impatient response. Wow, you need to trust me more. At first, it may seem like something natural. But what if this response is accompanied by irritation, vague answers, or even an attempt to quickly change the subject? That's when it's time to pay attention. Here are some things to watch out for. Does this phrase appear when you ask legitimate questions about something unusual? Does the person seem more concerned with making you feel guilty for asking than with actually clarifying the doubt? Do they avoid the conversation, dodge it, or act as if it's absurd that you want to understand the situation better? Of course, trust is essential, but it should also be built with transparency, not imposed with ready-made phrases. If every time you try to talk about something important, you get this response as an end to the discussion, it could be a sign that transparency is being replaced by defensiveness. True trust doesn't need ready-made speeches. It shows in actions, not words. Bonus. Why are you so paranoid? If there's one phrase that can quickly disarm any question, it's this one. When someone responds to a legitimate question with, "Wow, stop being paranoid," or "You're imagining things." Зрение. Они могут пытаться отвлечь внимание и заставить вас сомневаться в своих чувствах. Now, let's think about it. You notice a change in behavior. You ask a simple question without being aggressive. Instead of a clear answer, you get a label. You're seeing things where there aren't any. If this happens once in a while, it could just be a bad way to end a conversation. But if this response becomes a pattern, be careful. This could be a form of emotional manipulation, where the person is trying to make you doubt your own perception. Be careful if you feel like you're always explaining yourself and justifying your feelings. The other person never clarifies the situation. They just make you feel guilty for asking. After the conversation, instead of feeling relieved, you feel even more confused. Questioning the other person's behavior is not paranoia. Healthy relationships are based on dialogue, not on tactics to invalidate feelings. If something seems strange, trust your instincts. These phrases in isolation may not mean anything, but when analyzed in the right context and added to other behaviors, they can serve as important clues. If you liked the content, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any insights about relationships and human behavior. And don't forget, leave a comment saying, "I always knew."